Hey everybody, we're back. This is Dust for Dusted on Gaming with a Red White Humans Soul Sisters list. So this take on humans is a little bit different than the mono white version we were taking for a spin. The mono white version obviously was very aggressive, single-minded, with a little bit of side flavor of a little bit of disruption in certain regards. This particular list is a little more combo-y, a little bit more mid-range-y. You have Champion the Parish as kind of your one-drop beater to pair along with Norin the Weary. These two popping in and out means your champion gets like a +1 every turn. Those of you who don't know, Norin basically never stays in play. If somebody attacks, he pops out. If someone casts a spell, he pops out. About the only way is to legitimately kill him is something like Liliana the Last Hope. So he can be a very hard creature to kill, but at the same time, he, in and of itself, doesn't really lend you any particular advantage or disadvantage, other than he's just kind of popping in and out. So this deck is kind of built to take advantage of that. You got things like Genesis Chamber, so every time a creature comes into play under your control, you're gaining a token. You have Soul Warden and Soul's Attendant, so you're gaining life. Champion the Parish also synergizes with him. Every time he pops in, pops out, getting a 1/1 counter. Ajani's Pridemate could very easily be Thalia's Lieutenant in this deck. It's likely he'll grow bigger than Thalia's Lieutenant would in most circumstances due to Soul's Attendant and Soul's Warden, but it's possible with the popping in and out of Norin that you actually want another human in the slot, and Thalia's Lieutenant would certainly pump up your Soul Warden, your Soul's Attendant, and obviously benefit from the synergy with Norin. Beyond that, you've got Lightning Bolts and Path to Exiles to both interact with your opponent's creatures, and also bolts can go to the face. Legion Loyalist is a one of kind of randomly. This can help you trample over if you get some big guys, if your opponent's got a bunch of chump blockers from your Genesis Chamber. So as a one of, I think this is perfectly reasonable card. Couple of Boros Charms. Boros Charm could both be direct damage to the face and protect your team from sweepers. And then, obviously, Genesis Chamber, we've mentioned, synergizes well with your beatdown weenie plan here. Go wide, kill your opponent that way. A couple of Blood Moons. Blood Moon isn't necessarily the best card in this deck, because we do have a lot of dual lands. You need a Plains or two to operate. But this is one of those decks where you can like get a bunch of creatures on the board and then play Blood Moon proactively to kind of disrupt what your opponent's doing. You still have quite a few spells you can play under Blood Moon. This allows you to like get a board presence, play Blood Moon, lock your opponent out of the game, kill them in a turn or two. Perforos and Ranger of Eos serve a couple different functions. Perforos, in conjunction with Norin and Genesis Chamber, is a combo. Every time a creature's entering the battlefield on your side of the thing, your opponent's taking 2 damage, and then also has fire breathing for all your team. So Perforos serves quite a few different purposes in this deck. It attacks your opponent on a different axis. It also can pump up your team when they're attacking. Ranger of Eos is more of a grind card, allows you to go find your Soul Sisters, your Champion the Parish, your Norin the Weary, and just kind of overwhelm your opponent with card advantage if they can't answer it. And then Return to the Ranks is kind of your late game card. This allows you to get back a bunch of your stuff in one swoop. You know, if your opponent's killed like 4 or 5 of your 1 or 2 drops, you bring them all back in one shot. You know, get like a couple Soul's Attendant, a Ajani Pridemate, a Champion the Parish. All of a sudden, you have like a 6/6 Ajani's Pridemate. You have a 3/3 Champion the Parish. Pretty much have a board presence out of nowhere. That's pretty much the main deck. I mean, the mana base. This is severely upgraded from the mono white. You've got like 3 Caverns of Souls, which is putting you well on your way toward getting the regular humans deck together. 3 Ghost Quarters to disrupt your opponent's mana a little bit. Inspiring Vantage and Sacred Foundry as ways to have dual lands. Temple of Triumph gives you a little bit of card selection at the cost coming into play tapped. I think you can afford 1 coming into play tap land in this deck. Although 19 lands is really low for a bunch of 4-drops. But, you know, guessing you're presuming the game's going to go a little bit longer if you're getting to those guys. Sideboard, Rest in Peace, Disrupting Graveyard Deck, Stony Silence for Affinity, Thalia when you need to disrupt spell decks, Auriok Champion when you need another life gain, also pretty good against burn. Pretty decent in a lot of different matchups. Anything with blue and black or black and red removal can be difficult to kill. Ghostly Prison when you're trying to slow down the game and win with Perforos against some of the more aggressive decks like the Other Humans list or Affinity. Return to the Ranks for grindy decks as we mentioned in the main deck. Life Trickery when you need to kind of sweep your opponent's board and they have a bunch of X1s. Deflecting Poem when your opponent has a bunch of big crap. And then Wear Terror whenever you need to kill any artifacts or enchantments. So, that's pretty much about it for the list. Cost of the list is about 171 on Magic Online and about 600 in paper. Most of that cost in paper is obviously from Cavern of Souls and from Blood Moon, which is obviously not necessary in addition to your regular human stuff. So, Cavern makes up a huge chunk of that expense. So, here we go. Do a couple two-man queues with this morning. Those of you that just missed it, we were playing a Jeskai control deck in Standard. It was pretty decent. Maybe some tweaking needs done, at least from my playstyle perspective. The progenitor of the deck, he's trying to clue in on aggro decks, so seems like it does a decent job of that. Yeah, we'll keep this hand. And seems pretty decent. Get off on Champion here. No fetches in this deck, which... Ponza or Devotion? Yeah, it's one thing... this is a list that, it's probably about a year old. I think it was at TCG States a couple years ago, or in 2017. This was a list, the only one I could find with, like, Red-White Soul Sisters. That tells you how popular that archetype is. But there's a couple different ways you can go, like Red-White Humans, like we were talking about before I flipped over. You can easily do something like, don't think this is Ponza then. Is this just Devotion? Yeah, I think this is just Devotion. Guess this could be, this could also be that Super Friends deck. Soul's Attendant. This is where our mana is going to get a little awkward for us. Yeah, doubling Season Super Friends, it could very easily be that deck. Oh, that's what makes me think that maybe this Pride Mage should be Thalia's Lieutenants. But I guess Thalia's Lieutenant only really works well with Norn itself. Doesn't work quite as well with the Soul's Attendant and Soul Sarah's, the various Soul Sisters. That said, our opponent's going to have a lot of mana here, so something like Nissa would be extremely annoying. No, looks like they're... Well, they could still be either deck, I guess. Yeah, that's probably true. Though if you are running Thalia's Lieutenant, you're up to like 24 humans. We're gonna have a hard time punching through all this nonsense, aren't we? Hmm. So... Courser's annoying, but Tracker's not much better. Pop goes the Norn. What set did I start playing MTG competitively? Depends. The first time was the original Ravnica and Time Spiral block. I went to regionals and a couple pre-releases. Was kind of my first time really playing competitively, and then some life circumstances led me away from that, and then I went back to, what could you have here? Samut. Okay. All that to eat a token. But, no, I got back into it during Return to Ravnica Innistrad block, and then got into it heavily during the Return to Ravnica um, Innistrad, and then played through Theros block pretty consistently, and then went back to school. School started disrupting, playing a lot. So online I've played competitively quite a bit since then, but it's been mostly kind of Magic Online stuff. But I've started pick backups in January, competitively playing Standard again, and doing a couple PPTQs and some other stuff. I've been able to take some more time off work here and there, so work's been a lot more favorable towards being competitive. I'm familiar with a good bit of Magic history. Um, I actually started casually playing with my brother, thanks to my brother, with like Ice Age and that block. So, well, I didn't play competitively with and then, but my brother had like Stasis and had like Stasis and Necropotence and Knights and a whole bunch of other stuff at that point in time. Like I don't know how our opponent's getting out of this. Like I mean, I'm sure they have like some way, but these two guys alone are just like a complete total utter beating. Guess we're playing the how big can I get my possibly. I don't think they're a Genesis Wave deck though. I think um good lord. This is where like our one Evolution loyalist would just like destroy them. Sure. Don't even care about your Samut hit here. What's up, Pablo? How you doing? Trying to break Magic Online with some triggers this morning. This deck has the closest thing you can get to Recruiter with Ranger of Eos. Like obviously, I think the mana's a little low to be running that many 4 drops, but um, Yeah, our one of Legion Loyalists would just be so silly on this board right now. This is just so dumb. I don't know if we're winning this game, but man, this is fun. uh, yeah, like I said, the list I took was just um triggers anyone? Domerade. Sure. Our opponent showed us Domerade and conceded. Okay. Um. Yeah. Alright, so. What are we looking in the sideboard for? Electrickery might be. They've got some mana idiots. Kind of hard to say. Um. Ghostly Prisons, maybe? Blood Moon's probably not too terrific against them. Oriok Champion. And they might have Red Sweepers. Don't really know if there's too much we're trying to bring in here. Like, maybe another Return to the Ranks if they have Sweepers. I think it's just Ghostly Prison for Blood Moon and call it a day. I'd like to thank everyone for hanging out this morning. Hope you're enjoying the absurdity that is this deck. This is a continuation of our Humans series. Yeah, hand seems fine. Alright, so they don't have one of their Arbor Elves. Human. Actually, let's go ahead and play a Soul's Attendant. There's a decent chance this could just die, but If they want to bolt Soul's Attendants, they're more than welcome to. say? I probably have a carry audit on this turn. Yes. Hmm. I'm gonna pretty much do every reasonable humans combo that I've come across. The collected company ones with tireless tracker and such. The reclamation sage. Well, that's a bit of a beating. Check online is being difficult this morning. It's not letting me do always yes for some reason. Hmm. Don't think we're not looking for another soul piece. Let's go ahead and bolt this bird. Don't know that makes a huge difference, but I'm trying to choke them on mana a little bit. Possibly Pablo. There's a lot of different ways you could go with this list. Xenagos. Ooh, wow. Xenagod is certainly scary. 1, 2, 3, 4. Champion of the Parish. Not a bad one. Well, our god seems a little shy, so maybe. Going after Vizier here, huh? Alright, well, if we ever draw Perforos, we'll be in okay shape. Thanks. How's things down in Chile? Isn't the winter time for you guys? Glad everybody's hanging out this morning. Playing a little bit of another humans deck in Modern. Well, this one's definitely different than most humans lists. So that Vizier the Menagerie needs to die sooner or later. Yeah, this is really the battle of the gods now. Wowzers. I think we're in over our heads this game. Misa thinks a Weeza deadza. So, does that change how we sideboard? I'm not sure that we really have anything for the gods other than the Path to Exiles that are already in our deck. So, um, hmm. Deflecting Palms probably interesting. Boros Germs are probably a little less so. Because, like, popping our opponent with a Deflecting Palm on a 24 hit Galta would be pretty nice. So, we're definitely going to bring that in. Beyond that, don't think there's anything we really want in our sideboard. Hmm. I mean, this hand's okay. Yeah, our opponent's just like a mono green ramp into big deck, so. Probably the only time in this whole match one of our Soul Sisters will get to attack this turn. If that had been Bolt, we would have been in probably a little bit better shape here. Holy birds of paradise. Hmm. Carioted, sure. Hmm, that's a rough one. I wonder if my opponent realizes this is only going to buy them a point of health. So ironically, although Norin himself so I don't have to use my Soul's Attendant in this attack. Depends on how our opponent blocks here. If our opponent casts a spell, they're dead. To be fair, their puny gods did whoop our ass last game, so let's not get too cocky. Their Nylea and Xenagod definitely pounded us in the ground their game too. Wow, talk about an Akkad hand. I guess we'll keep. uh, Pride mate. To the bottom. Unfortunately, playing Temple of Triumph immediately made our opponent go get a bunch of basics. Because the only deck in Modern that plays Temple of Triumph usually is Red White Prison. So, in a way, playing that Temple actually kind of backfired a little bit. If I would have played Inspiring Vantage, our opponent probably wouldn't even have fetched these basics. But it is kind of funny. Alright, looks like we're up against straight up Grixis. Oh, Gulligan's Command. Yep. Discard a Blood Moon. Suspect our hand in this game is just going to get demolished. But it will be interesting to see how the grindy elements of these decks go against each other. Opponent's still on all basics. Oh dear. Snapcaster Serum Visions? Yeah. Two cards on top. That's always scary. Um, most decks in Modern can't afford to have their lands come into play tapped. Unless they are, unless they are some kind of combo deck, like Ad Nauseam, or, that archetype. So there are not too many actual decks that play the red-white colors in particular. So, okay. Most of the they're true Grixis control, and most of the true Grixis control decks have been playing a lot of basics, specifically because they run Field of Ruin, which they're going to demonstrate to us the use of here shortly. Snapcaster Mage on what? Kolaghan's Command. maybe that was correct there, but thought process is not wanting my opponent to resolve a Gurmag Angler or a Tassiger without having an answer to it. The fact that our opponent has not chosen to Field of Ruin us here is going to come back to bite them a little bit. Question is, what do I go get here? Um, hmm. Opponent's debating firing off this Field of Ruin. I don't know why they're not, to be honest with you. 5 mana, 6 mana. Okay. Basically, I did that to get Champion out of bolt range. Are you going to activate Field of Ruin now? Okay, Snapcaster Fatal Push. That's pretty decent. Mm-hmm. So, we do have quite a few turns, but it does feel like they've kind of turned the corner here, so. Why would I play Blood Moon? I can't play Blood Moon under my spells, and they have all the colored mana they need. I mean, now I can play Blood Moon, but previous to them giving us the plains, what was the point? like now allow them to return their Snapcaster Mage to their hands. So I mean, this game's pretty much over. So we have some amount of outs, but we're not exactly a burn deck, so we only have like 5 more burn spells in our deck. Probably just gonna Kolaghan's Command this. I mean, I have a small chance there with bolts and stuff, but save us some of our common sense for post-board games. Turn to the ranks. Definitely want Thalia's. Auriok Champion's okay in this matchup. Board out the Blood Moons. I scooped to save sanity more than anything. Pretty much at that point, like our outs are bolts and Boros Charms. Our opponent has 3 or 4 cards already in hand, so I have to be able to maneuver in a way to resolve spells that include bolt. So we could potentially win, but am I going to play another 5 to 7 to 9 turns to see if I draw multiple bolts that I can sequence in a way to kill them when I only have 5 burn spells left in my deck? Okay, that said, what cards are we cutting here? Norin's not at his best in this matchup. I'll cut one of him. Genesis Chambers can all go. Specifically because they have Kolaghan's Command. I guess maybe 1 or 2 Genesis Chambers in. Cut another Legion Loyalist, maybe? We have to leave pass in to stop their Worm Coils and Tassigers they might have. It can, but you have to understand that our opponent's not going to let it in play if it doesn't benefit them. So it can grind, but it's not Um, Great, because they have Kolaghan's command main. So, now if we draw lands, this hand could get quite insane quite quickly. But if we don't, we're just going to sit here and kind of flounder around a little bit. Alright, so... Am I naming Cat here? Don't think they're running Spell Snare. Guess we'll find out here in a sec. Are they bolting Soul Warden? Yep, they're bolting Soul Warden. Okay. Play another Soul's Attendant here. They're gonna kill this in response too? Nope. Snapcaster Mage Lightning Bolt. Hey, what a surprise. Do need to draw lands for this Perforos to be reasonable. Bet you didn't see Borostrom coming. It's a card that could get us back into this game, potentially. What are the odds that they have a cryptic command in hand? Oh well. 1, 2, 3. Nope, just had a logic knot. Come on, let's draw a land next turn. Come on, deck. Just need a land. This is one of the reasons I was worried about the land count in this deck. Oh, there's a card. Come on, deck. Give us a land. Yeah, I know their entire deck is creature removal. If we would have drawn a land at any point in this stretch of stuff, then we would have been in pretty good shape, I think. So they couldn't let Norn resolve. How many cryptics have they been through? Just one? That's unfortunate. So which one do I even try to resolve first? No, one cryptic, one logic knot. Why are they fetching? We have no lands left to find. Oh, trigger fatal push. Okay. Pass. Yeah, bolt or can't come in. We're dead. Yeah, there's a second cryptic command. Maybe I missed it somewhere in there. Oh. Oh, that game was so stupid. Um, hmm. Maybe we want the third Genesis Chamber again, but over what? Uh, I can't even think of what I'd want to board out. Oh, we'll go with 60. We'll run the 61 card, 19 land deck. Sure, why not? Yeah, hand seems reasonable. Yeah, I know. But to be fair, they use their graveyard way more than we do. So Rest in Peace hurts them a lot worse. Their Snapcasters are much, much worse cards. Trying to think if there's a way we can maneuver them into. Oh, are you about to use a Kolaghan's command? Huh. I say, it feels like. Whenever they. Okay, shatter that, do that. Okay. That said, we've pretty much used our entire allotment of stuff here, so. Um. To a certain degree. Grixis control has been on the periphery of the format anyway. We have a third Kolaghan's command. This is pretty much going to be game, though. I mean, that game 2 was pretty epic, but Liliana gets to kill Norn here, and then we just kind of get beat down by Snapcaster mages. Remember how I talked about how we have 19 lands in our deck? Anybody else find it ironic that in game 3 we're flooding so badly? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. We're just gonna die the Lily Ultimate here. I think Perforos, unfortunately, was just a little too slow here. Well, game 2 is at least pretty interesting. So, alright, well, that's gonna... sometimes... I can look up for you, honestly. Cool. Guns. I don't know what the latest list from, whatchamacallit is. Just a shadow. I don't see any of the lists, but that doesn't make sense, especially with Kolaghan's command. It's a really difficult creature to kill, so if you don't have Path to Exile in your deck, then it's just kind of a closer. Like, some of the Blue Moon decks and some of the Grixis decks go for the bigger end closers, like a Torrential Gearhulk or a Worm Coil Engine, or something along those lines. Something that hits harder and can close out the game. So, and's a little bit resilient. Like, Torrential Gearhulk with Kolaghan's command seems pretty insane, honestly. But Snapcaster Mage is just so much more efficient. So, I mean, is what it is. I I agree. It depends on what you're trying to fight. Wormcoil allows you to recoup life loss in a deck that has a fetch shock mana base, and otherwise its only method of life gain would be something like collective brutality. Because a deck like Burn could potentially take advantage of the fact that, yeah, you have a boatload of creature removal, but I don't know. I mean, one day we might actually play Grixis Control on stream. In Modern, we could try out Gear Hulks. So looks like that would be a lot of fun. Like 3 or 4 Snapcaster Mages, a couple Torrential Gear Hulks. Just play a long grindy game with Grixis Control. Could be fun. Certainly better than sitting here and being on the receiving end of it with a deck that only has so many tools to deal with a deck with that much removal. But, it happens. So, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this morning, watching us play a little bit of humans. This deck is okay. I mean, it's nowhere near as powerful as the 5-color humans lists. It's got some tricks up its sleeve. Obviously its guys can get absurdly big when you get Genesis Chamber, Johnny Pridemate, and a bunch of Norns popping in and out. But I don't know. I suspected the grindy matchups would be a little bit of our weakness, and the fact that they played around Blood Moon in Game 1, and we weren't really able to leverage it, and then Game 2, we got a little bit lucky, let's be honest, and then Game 3, they just kind of meep ran us over once they dealt with our initial wave of threats. So this deck's alright. I mean, you could certainly tweak it, maybe Soul... what was the one you suggested? Sarah Ascendant, Pablo suggested, might make a little bit of sense. I can't remember if that's a human or not. I think it's a human monk, but yeah, Sarah's Ascendant would also fit into the strategy some as an alternative beatdown plan once we get our life total enough high. Or high enough, not enough high. Wow. My English doth good this morning. Anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. Gonna call it a day here. We've already streamed the rest of the Jeskai list, and we streamed this morning. I might be back this afternoon, but probably not. Got some other stuff to attend to besides streaming today. So, I want to say thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone who views this later on YouTube replay. Also, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you really like what you see on the channel and you want to help support what's going on here, consider visiting our Patreon page. And if you have any good deck lists or anything you want to send us, feel free to leave them down in the comments, or go ahead and email them to mggotavern@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Next time we stream, probably be doing a little more blue-white X control. I don't think anybody's current lists I'm sitting on that I need to play. So, going to be either working on blue-white X control or maybe a little bit more humans. Don't know, we might play this deck again. We might play one of the other various human variants. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, and I hope to catch you all later. Standard blue-white control. Eventually we'll get to it in Modern, but right now I'm working on blue-white control for Standard because of Grand Prix Pittsburgh, and I'm working on humans because it's the most popular deck in Modern, and so, alright. Catch everyone later. Thanks for hanging out, Jankovic.